You're listening to Indie Fam Nation right now on TPV Radio.
First Chronicles chapter 16, verses 8 through 12. Give thanks unto the Lord. Call upon his name. Make known his deeds among the people. Sing unto him. Sing psalms unto him. Talk ye of all his wondrous works. Glory ye in his holy name. Let the heart of them rejoice that seek the Lord. Seek the Lord and his strength, seek his face continually. Remember his marvelous works that he hath done, his wonders and the judgments of his mouth. Thus the word of the Lord. Now I'd like to take this time to welcome you. Yeah, you. So come on in. I'm glad you're here, my friend. Now that you've arrived, let's get this party started. Yeah, it's time to begin. It's time to sing and dance, a big old family celebration. People all over the world, yeah, they came to celebrate the Lord of all creation. And if you didn't know, let me tell you, it's gonna be all the way live. We got plenty to drink, yeah, but it's a brand new one. Now the guest of honor is both lion and lamb. The Savior of all the world, he is the great I am.
Light of Hope Fellowship Ministries proudly presents the first annual Worship Outside the Walls, April 2nd, 2022. Guest appearances are Mr. Church and Marvette the Artist, Cole from Baby, Trayshawn Bell, Psalmist Trudence, also Jen Born Again, and Trey Crockett. We also include X Marks the Spot and TK Booms. And yours truly, the Psalmist Voice, will be the MC of the events. Spots are limited, so please register now. Walk with us, family. Let's go. What's good, radio family? It's your boy, the Psalmist Voice. The Psalmist Voice Radio Network keeps getting hotter, and we have that Holy Ghost smoke just for you. Sundays, it's the return of TPV Rebirth with yours truly, the Psalmist Voice, at 2 p.m. Central. Followed by Mondays, Indie Fam Nation, exclusively on Clubhouse at 8:15 a.m. Tuesdays, Victory Over the Weights of Life with author and speaker Deanne Lubrin at 6 p.m. Wednesdays, Illuminating Word Ministries with Apostle Dr. Forrest L. Walker Sr. at 5:15 p.m. Thursdays, Real Talk with Pastor Byron Sago at 4:30 p.m. Also, the hottest interview on the planet, the exclusive interview with yours truly, the Psalmist Voice, by booking only. Saturdays Buffet with Sister Lorraine Brown and Roberta Jones at 11 a.m. Followed by The Locker Room with Coach D every second and fourth Saturday at 4 p.m. Look us up on Facebook, also on Twitter and our YouTube channel, the Psalmist Voice Radio Network, and walk with us, family. Let's go!
Start a new journey. In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's the two-time Stellar Award considered, Spin Award nominated. You're listening to The Voice, the Psalmist Voice Radio Network.
What's good, radio family? It's your boy, the Psalmist Voice. The Psalmist Voice Radio Network has adopted Blessings on the Block community outreach here in the CTX, and we are excited about this. But you can help us out, family. There are 3 ways to do it with our partnership packages. First up is the Let's Go Nation 100, the Let's Go Nation 75, and the Let's Go Nation 25. Every 3 months, 10% of your partnership, family, goes to Blessings on the Block community outreach. So, family, become a partner today. Let's ride with the nation and walk with me, family. Let's go!
When your heart has been renewed, there is a sound of the voice that will set you free. Now it is time for a rebirth. Now it is time for a rebirth of the Psalmist Voice. Let's go.
What's good, family? It's your boy, the Psalmist Voice, aka Pastor Christopher Newton, and you're listening to the Psalmist Voice Radio Network. Walk with us, family. Let's go!
In a world where nothing is certain, only music can help you to find the right way. The way you should follow today. This way will take you to the best genres of music from around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome. You're listening to The Sound.
Hi, my name is Isaac Etter, and I'm the founder of Etter Consulting, a consulting firm that helps families train to transracially adopt. Well, I was adopted when I was 2 years old. My birth mother tried to raise me for about 2 years before she ended up giving me up for adoption in Richmond, Virginia. Shortly after I was adopted, my family moved to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where I was raised in a very conservative area, not knowing many other people of color, especially Black people. The only other Black people I really knew were also transracially adopted. And so I grew up really not having an understanding of people that weren't white. Around the age of 16, I found out about racism accidentally on the internet. I spent that whole year wrestling with whether or not racism was real because of my upbringing. On my 17th birthday, me and my friends were walking home late at night. We were coming down a hill. We were being kind of loud, and there was a cop car at the top of the hill that started flashing its lights. And so we started running, and one of my friends shouted out, "It's all right, Isaac's the only one that's gonna get in trouble." And I remember that moment, everything set in. Everything I had read on Tumblr, everything that I had seen, all the videos of police brutality, all of it, it all clicked all at once. I realized that everybody in my life knew something that I didn't know. They knew I was different. They knew that I would be treated different, not just by police, but by everyone. They knew that I was different and I wasn't like them. I realized at that point, even though my parents had the best intentions of raising a black child, they weren't preparing me to go into a world that would treat me differently because of the color of my skin.
I believe that when you're adopting transracially, you're young and you go into it with a little bit of an idealistic worldview, and I don't believe that's necessarily bad. If everybody knew what they were getting to raising children, adopted or not, they would probably be horrified because raising children is the hardest task that you will ever do in your life. But I do believe that our culture has evolved, our culture has matured, our society has changed in ways that having counseling in this area now could be tremendously beneficial and could, potentially help an adoptive family avoid some of the pitfalls that we just kind of had to stumble through.
The first talk that Isaac gave during our training, our pre-service training, was on the topic of transracial and cross-cultural adoption. And Isaac came to share his personal and professional perspective on that. He was so approachable with the families that were there. Sometimes it's difficult for me as a white social worker to present issues surrounding ethnicity and race. I feel cautious that I want to be respectful of all perspectives and views, but sometimes families don't feel that maybe I have the knowledge or the experience to answer their questions. And having Isaac present, he was gentle in his responses. He allowed people to ask questions that perhaps otherwise maybe would have made people uncomfortable, things like that. He was informative. And families really benefited from having him there. And as a result, even more so than just having the families benefit, I'm confident that the children who entered those families into that cross-cultural or transracial family benefited as well by having parents who were informed.
I spent the last few years researching and learning the best ways to have conversations about race and privilege in America. Being a transracial adoptee, it's important to me that children that are being fostered and adopted are going into educated and inclusive homes. I would love to work with any adoption agency, social work program, or family to help prepare people for transracial fostering and adoption. Everything you need is here. Reach out and let's start the conversation today. I'm Isaac Etter. I'm a transracial adoptee. I was adopted when I was 2. And about 2 years ago now, I started a consulting firm, Etter Consulting, really to do racial bias and anti-racism work within the adoption sector. Started with just families and quickly grew to working with more adoption agencies and social workers. And the whole mission of it really is to help prepare families to transracially adopt before they get the children. My goal is to kind of be on the front end so that children are going into safe and inclusive homes, not the family is adopting and then realizing, oh, there's a difference between black and white people and culture. And so we're catching it on the front end so that people aren't having what is many times a traumatic experience as a teenager and an adult in a transracial adoptive home.
It's the exclusive interview with the Psalmist Voice right now on TPV Radio.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again to bring that Holy Ghost smoke. My guest is not only, I gotta be a little partial here, but this guest is my nephew, and I'm proud of him. So if you just caught the clip, you're gonna catch who this man is all about. Isaac Etter. He is an activist, a social entrepreneur. Isaac was transracially adopted at age 2. He found identity and startup focus on providing accessible, diverse, and ethical adoption and foster care education. Isaac has used his story of being adopted and growing up in a white world to co-create deep conversations about race in America with his unique insight on racial tensions between white and black communities. They have been able to impact conversations where everyone learns to value each other and their experiences while learning about systematic racism, privilege, and their role in it. Ladies and gentlemen, the exclusive interview proudly presents my nephew, Isaac Etter. What's good?
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for the introduction.
Well, I didn't want to put you to sleep with the first, thing, but people need to know what you do. And I think it's an awesome piece to put in the package because people don't know, especially here in Texas, they don't know. So this is why we brought you here, because we have a lot of individuals that are transracially adopted. We have a lot of individuals from different cities, different towns. It's a military city. So we got a mix and a plethora of different ethnic groups, especially in our military homes, and some of them even civilian. It's just something that they need to know. And I'm just glad and honored to have you here because, again, a lot of people don't know. And having the knowledge to understand that there's someone out here that's educating people how to, you're not for say, telling people how to raise your child, but you're giving them tools. If they're a certain race, you're giving them tools to understand that, yeah, it's going to be different for that child. Each child has a different experience. Maybe not all children that have been adopted have negative experiences. There are some that have great experiences. Some of them may not have known this side of the story. So it's awesome to know that there's two sides of the coin, and you can still be successful. You can still do what God has called you to do. You can still be a trendsetter in this generation, in this time, in this season. And you don't see a lot of young folks like yourself doing what they do. So this is another key thing that I wanted to bring you on, because you don't see that. And I'm just going to be real. Sorry, y'all can DM me later and hate mail me later, but it's the truth. We don't see a lot of next generation individuals taking something this serious and making a movement out of it. I'm just saying. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's my spiel. Y'all know how we do it on this platform. We may not get churchy tonight because this is kind of a serious topic, but y'all know that we do not have any kind of scripts, fillers, all that stuff. If the Holy Ghost drops, he gonna drop and have his way. That's just how we do it. Just saying. But other than that, so if you gotta run around, Isaac, and you gotta run around 3 times, do a boot scoot, or just raise your hands, or whatever you gotta do, you are free to do so on this platform, because it's a no judgment zone, and we ain't here to judge nobody. We here to deliver folk. Just saying. But anyway, that's my church's spiel. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna introduce to you my nephew. Yeah, he's my nephew. Yeah, you see the resemblance? Well, I don't have any hair anymore, but just saying. But anyway, oh man, Yeah, I'm getting it down here now. I'm just, I might have to get one of those pieces that they got. Anyway, but Isaac, how you doing, man? How's it? Is it over there? And he's in Pennsylvania, y'all. That's way East Coast, and it's cold. Now, y'all think it's cold here in Texas? No, we got nothing compared to Pennsylvania cold. Just saying. So, Isaac, your introduction, your bio was awesome. I don't know if they heard it with all the dramatics. That's just what we do here. But anyway, just tell the family a little bit of backdrop, who you are. You don't have to give them your age, just saying, but just tell them, just a little bit about you. Give them a little bit about you, what you do, and we'll get into the serious questions in just a few minutes. But so Isaac, you have the floor.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here. But yeah, my name is Isaac Etter. I'm the founder of a company called Identity. I was formerly running a company called Etter Consulting, which you watched the video for. The only change now is that we provide education as a whole in adoption and foster care, not just transracial adoption. Transracial adoption is still a big focus for us, but we provide educational resources via technology now. We have, our mission is really to bring accessible resources to families. And so we know that accessibility means more than just financial. It means how easy is it for you to access these things too. And so that's why we've gone the technology route, incorporating apps and things like that to make some of this information really easy for families to get. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'm in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I'm very cold all the time now. But yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Man, now this story for me, like I said, it's a little personal because it's we're family. Regardless of how you look at it, we're still family, and I gotta honor your adoptive parents. I really do, because they didn't have to keep the connection. They could have just said, no, we just gonna keep them to ourselves and da 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 da. They didn't do that, and I honor both of them for that, regardless of whatever it is. I gotta respect where respect is due, because they didn't have to do it. So I honor them. If they're watching, thank you so very much for doing what you did and keeping that line of communication open, because this would have never happened if that wasn't the case. Just saying. So we're here to help each other. We're here to help each other grow, build, and what better way to do that is on a platform where people watch it and they're like, wow, I didn't even know the psalmist had a serious side. Well, yeah, I do. There are issues that need to be addressed, and this is one of them. So I'm happy that you rebranded, and now it's accessible to the new age kind of person, because I just got hip with all the technology about maybe 3 years ago. I was one of those adults like, here, son, I don't know what I'm doing. But now that I'm doing it, I understand now. So for me, it's awesome just to have that thing, just to be able to do an app, and do a radio station app, and all these different things to help you get out there. Because the future is in apps and online. Absolutely. It is. So even with radio, it's transitioning to this, because people don't listen to radio anymore. They still do, but it's not in the generation of where you are and younger. They're like, a radio station? What is that? It's not an app. It's not TikTok. It's not Snapchat. What are you talking about? So again, you need to have individuals that can trendset and still educate us folk over here in the mid-40s and still keep us relevant to what's going on, and be re-educated and recondition our mind to certain things that we feel, or our opinion, or we feel some kind of way, and all this other stuff. And it's not that simple. Just saying. So you have to understand that this life we live, whether we want to bring Christ in it or not, we have to understand one thing. people, when you are introduced to Christ, it's a different paradigm shift. Now, when you're introduced to the world, it's a totally different dynamic. So we're taught to love one another, right? We're taught to be unconditional with how we love each other, right? But the problem is we have the issues right in the house. And I'm not trying to preach, but we have issues in the house. We can't even love each other in the house. So what makes you think I can love someone unconditionally that don't look like me but calls me daddy?
Yeah.
That's the real issue. And this is what we're going to talk about tonight, because people don't talk about it, especially in some, not all, some of our churches. We don't talk about this. You know, God is love. God loves everybody. Look, I know, but the world don't see it that way. So with saying all that, this is introducing us to the first question. Now, what inspired you to develop this idea, starting from Etter Consulting now to Identity? You have the floor.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the real inspiration is my story, right? You know, I was adopted when I was 2. And so, you know, my experience growing up in a white home, not having, you know, relationships with people of color, going out into the world, experiencing racism, like having those experiences really, you know, transformed my life, right? So I went through like this whole identity crisis as like an early adult, so like 18. And so going through that and kind of coming through it, working as an activist, doing, you know, inner city work, doing work around race. I think it all just kind of culminated to me kind of transitioning my experience and the professional work I did in the field and bringing it into the adoption field. And so, you know, I brought it into the adoption field around 2019. And then, you know, Identity launched in May. And so it's really been, you know, a cool 4 years of doing this work. It's crazy how it flies by. In January of the 4th year. And it just goes right by. You know, you feel not even old, you know that, but I feel it sometimes, you know, when you think about how fast it's gone. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the inspiration, right? And, you know, what better place to draw inspiration from than like our actual lived experience? You know, a lot of the best companies are built from real problems that the founders experienced.
Exactly.
And so, you know, this is not only true to something that I'm passionate about, like I'm passionate about creating a better child welfare system, but I'm also passionate because it's my own story, it's my own experience, it's something that I lived and breathed. And so I can understand the children and their experience, as well as what we should do for parents so that children can have better experiences.
Exactly. And that's the big key to it all. Just having an open mind. You have to understand that as you grow, you know, when you're young, you got that fire, it's that zeal, you focus, you can't get in my zone, bro. I'm good. I'm here. But as you grow and understand that it's more to life than just going ham. Just saying, it's more to, you have to be strategic in your movements, even when it comes to a sensitive issue like transracial adoption. People don't want to talk about it. Well, he'll be all right. He's going to be in a good home. He's going to get what he needs. But different children have different needs. Different children have different experiences. Just because one person may not have had a negative experience doesn't mean the other child won't. So what do you do? And this is where this whole thing comes together, because you have tools, keys for people to understand that, okay, I have a transracial child. My first one was fine. He had no problems, but this one is going through it. So what do I do? Because I didn't have a problem with the first set. I didn't. So what do I do, Isaac? He's feeling some kind of way. Now he's questioning who he is. What do I do? Like, I don't know. So you are able to tackle those tough issues, those tough questions, and give people the answers and be able to translated to the adopted individual, and then they won't feel like they're an alien from another planet when they found out that they're not actually Caucasian.
Yeah.
Wait, what? I'm not Caucasian. No, you're not. Look, no. And honestly, the way culture is, and y'all don't DM me with this one either, but I'm gonna be real. Most individuals that grow up and they're not growing up in their same culture, they are quick to disown it. Oh, yeah, I'm waiting for the comments. But I'm just saying, it's the truth. We're quick to disown who we are. And when we grow up and we become a man or a woman, and we're like, wait a minute. I've realized that my friends, they're cool with me, but there's just certain things that they can't understand. Like, here's the whole big misconception about African American people. All of us like chicken. All of us like hot sauce. All of us like grape soda or grape juice. No, look, that's urban legends. Not all of us like that. Just saying. But again, this is what TV plugs in, right? So we're learning through TV, okay, this is what this ethnic group likes. So I can give little jokes without being offensive, but in all actuality, you're being offensive because that individual doesn't even have a clue what you're talking about. What are you talking about? Fried chicken with hot sauce. What are you talking about? Well, Isaac, aren't you black? And you're like, wait a minute. And I'm just using this as an example, but like, wait a minute. I didn't even see wow. And then you have a brain fart in your own head. Like, why did he, all this time, you didn't even mention that I had another side. I thought I was one of the boys. And now all of a sudden, I'm considered as a black man? What? So this is the reality. And I'm sorry y'all tuning off and y'all want to hear it, but this is the truth. This is what happens. Even me being a dark shade, because of the way I speak, I get hate. So if I speak like, saying what's good, son, all that stuff, I'm considered black, right? But if I don't speak that way and I speak proper English and I use dialects and metaphors and adjectives and all these things, you're considered white or you sold out. You're Oreo, all this stuff. And this is in our own race. Now, I brought all this stuff up because there's a dynamic here. We have to understand that no matter what ethnic group you come from, everyone has their own thing. I get it. But I want you to explain to the people, without giving all the goodies away, is there some counteraction to that? So if a parent comes to you and they have a son or a daughter that experienced what I just said, what can you give them to tell them how to engage with not only the child, but having them understand how to engage with the adoptee? You have the floor.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things here. I think before, a lot of this, I think really should come into play before we even adopt, right?
Yeah.
This is information that we kind of need to be knowing and trained on and understand well before we have a child in our home. And so there's a couple of things we have to recognize on that front end before we adopt any child, right? We have to understand that adoption in and of itself is a separation between a biological family and child. And that causes some kind of after effect, trauma, pain, grief, whatever. And when we recognize that, we understand that adopted people need different supports to succeed because they have different mental challenges, right? Some of the statistics to support this are like 80% of adopted people have significant mental health issues, right? And so like these are studies that are done. Adoptees are like 4 times more likely to commit suicide. So these are like statistics that we need to know, and we need to know that when we adopt children of any race, they need different supports, different therapies, and we need to talk to them in such a way that we can, be there for them as these different challenges come. And then I think when we enter the race component in there, from a very early age, when we transracially adopt, we need to make sure that these children have some connection to their culture, right? Because biological family might not always be the option. But if we can surround our children in environments that have them look like themselves, then these identity crises around race or kind of this experience of like being an adult and then all of a sudden you feel like you're black for the first time, we can kind of like mitigate these because they're growing up in environments that are both positive and forming their positive racial identity development. I think this is the biggest thing that's missed in transracial adoption is that a lot of people still think that when they adopt children of a different race, black especially, they can raise them like they would white children. And when we do that, when we do that, it's basically the same thing as taking the colorblind approach. It basically negates their experience in the world. And that experience doesn't go away. You know, I grew up in the 2000s, and that was a really big colorblind season. And that's how I was raised. And it didn't change any part of my experience in the real world, except for the fact that it made racism 10 times harder for me to experience when I experienced it. Because I trained that everybody's the same, when in reality, the world showed me something different. And so it's much better for our children, especially our adopted children, to grow up in environments that are going to show them what the real world is like. Not all these negatives, right? But when you grow up around black people, these black people are going to help you also talk to your children about the realities of the world, right?
Exactly.
You can catch a bunch of black kids playing with BB guns on the main street, right? Their parents know better than that. But you would catch a white kid and a bunch of white kids playing in the middle of a street with BB guns. And so that's these little cultural pieces that people miss. I mean, we see these stories, you know, all the time. I think, was it 5 years ago, we had this the story of a black guy who was arrested by the police in his home because the neighbors thought he was a robber, but really he was just a transracial adoptee. There was an Asian transracial adoptee killed by the police this year. And so, like, these are stories that happen because parents aren't actually taking the time to understand the cultural and real differences that different cultural groups have in America. It can be applied to really like any race other than white, right? Because, you know, Asian people have their own experience, Hispanic people have their own experience. Like, these are real life things that are happening to children, many black children. And they're going out into the world with a very naive point of view, which really could get them killed. Like, that might be the most dramatic way that it goes. But a lot of these perspectives could literally get black children killed because they're growing up thinking that they can do everything that white children can do. And though I wish that was the reality, we know from years, decades and decades of stories that black people do not get away with the same things that white people do.
That's the real talk.
So, you know, it's just real, and we do kids a disservice by not preparing them. Like, it's a real disservice to children, black children, who are already experiencing a form of trauma, who are already experiencing, you know, probably emotional and mental issues around their already experience in the world. It's a real disservice to throw them into the world for the world to then show them even deeper pain.
So with this particular assignment that you have, I'm not going to say it's a job because for you it's a passion. So it's not a job. So there's a difference, and people like, oh, well, that's a job. That's not. No, there's a difference. When you're a founder and an entrepreneur of a birthing, you go through a lot of different changes. So with the birthing of Etter Consulting to the growth of identity, there are some things in that path that you had to learn. So knowing what you know now from the beginning, is there anything you would have done differently when you first started out from the first rollout to now? You have the floor.
Well, the answer is, of course, like a ton of things. Like, looking back, I wouldn't do anything different now. Like, I like how the story played out. But if we're talking about an idealistic world, you know what I mean? Yeah, there's a million things I would have done differently. When I launched Etter Consulting, man, I didn't know anything about anything. You know what I mean? Like, I especially like, and I mean this in the business context. Like, in the business context, like I just do nothing I didn't know business structures. I didn't know marketing. I didn't know sales. I didn't know any of these things. And so, like, number one thing I would do is like just read books, like read different set of books and do research better. Like I just did limited research. I didn't, I was a kid. I was 19. I was just trying to figure it out. And so that's like the main thing I would do differently is like start like right then reading business books and actually kind of getting a framework of how I could actually accomplish what my goal was. Because now I'm doing more what I think I really wanted to do in the beginning than ever before. You know what I mean? Like, I've spent the last, 4 years now, like learning and getting mentors and reading about business, and spent especially the last year learning about business in like different contexts, because we're a corporation now. So we're a startup corporation on like the venture track. And so, we have a different, we're on a different agenda now. We're really talking about doing massive work in child welfare. But when I started Etter Consulting, even as like this small consulting firm, I still didn't have the framework for that at all either. So I just wish I would have read and studied more. I think I would have probably gotten to this destination sooner, but everything happens for a reason.
Exactly.
I think the other thing that I would have done differently is probably just like social media and talked more about it. It's nerve-wracking to talk and tell your story and say things because you never want to be wrong and you're embarrassed.
Yeah.
I feel it, all the time. But I think I just would have done more of that. Like I would have just spent more time talking on the internet, more time connecting with people, more time in interviews like this, just really prioritizing telling my story and getting in front of people rather than spending so much time, trying to perfect things that were really, insignificant in the long run. At the end of the day, impact is about people, right? And so you can change the font on your website a million times. You can change your logo a million times. But a lot of those things are really insignificant. They just really are. Like they have their significance in the world, but at the stage that most people are in, your logo, the font you use, all these things, they're kind of secondary to what you're actually, the kind of impact that your product is actually bringing. And so one thing that I've done now that I'm really thankful for that I didn't do in the beginning was I spend considerably less time nitpicking logos, fonts, and things like that. I spend a ton of time criticizing like our language. So like, is this actually sending the message that we want it to send? And I spend a whole lot more time on the internet interacting with people that could be our customers, people that are our customers. And in calling them our customers, honestly, seems kind of weird to me sometimes, because like the families in our community right now, like in our app right now, like these are families that I've known. Some of them I've known them for like a year or two. Like they've been to my talks, they've been following me. These are like, these are friends. These are people that I care about, and I want all of our clients to feel like that. And so I really feel like they have more of a client experience than like a customer experience. At least I hope that's the case. Because this is an intentional thing. Sometimes I literally do feel like it kind of undershines our customers when we call them customers. Because if we're talking about building thriving families, they're not just customers.
Yes,
this is an experience that we're trying to give them. This is not just like, oh, you bought it and we're done, right?
Yeah.
Which I feel like customer entails. When we're building now, and what I'm so glad that we're focusing on now more than anything else is that. And so I got off track there, but
no, you're good.
You know what I mean? Like it's just true. Like I'm glad that I'm not spending so much time nitpicking little things anymore, and spending a whole lot more time focusing on the impact we're having.
Exactly.
Because it's just so much more important. Because once you like have an impact, and you start to bring in money connected to that impact, right? Because impact is what brings the money. And so once you have the money, then you can come back and say, let's change this up. Let's hire a team, like a team of professionals, to come in and change the font and make it the way that I wish it was in the beginning. Or change the logo, make it a little bit more clean. Because like literally nobody cares about your logo or those little things in the beginning. They care about the product things. And you can come back and fix all of those things in the back end. like I keep running tabs of things that I want to come back and change in like our second edition, right? But I know that we had the money, we had this set of money to deploy in this area right now, and we did what we could with that, and we're going to spend the rest of it making sure our clients are having the best experience. And so, like, you just have to be, I think, kind of faithful and trust that like that's what you need to focus on, and don't get caught up thinking that somebody's going to not use your product because your font wasn't inviting them.
Well, I can help you out with that, nephew, because our site is not typical. It's not. It's not your typical straight flush website. We got a lot going on, and it's purposely done that way. See, because one, you have to know your base. You have to know, and I agree. When people come on this platform, they're not a number or an artist I've interviewed. I tell everybody, once you hit this platform, you become family. Now, people are like, what? That makes no sense. Well, it does, because there's no accessibility anymore. Everyone is paying for your brand, and that's it. There's nothing to it anymore. There's no personal touch like it was in the old days, where you can go into a store and you can shake the owner's hand and it's like, wow, I got a personal experience with the CEO. Yeah, we don't get that anymore. Everything is so, okay, you bought it, good, God bless you, have a great day. Is no, okay, well, how's Amy, how's Susie, how are they doing, what grade are they in now? Oh my God, really? I didn't know. See, those were the stores that when you grew up, everyone knew who they were. Everyone knew, oh, wow, that's so-and-so's kid. I grew up that way. So when you go into corner stores, they know who kid you are. And then when you see them, when you're grown, have your own kids, they're like, wait a minute. You were this small last time I saw you. See, it's developing family. And see, we've lost that. See, it's about, you can build a movement. You can build a culture. You can build a phenomena all you want. But if there's no personal touch to it, I'm just buying another cell phone like we do when cell phones come out every year. We get rid of our old one and upgrade it. It's the same thing. So I said all that to say, because with the fact that you have a unique thing, and I don't think people quite understand how unique it is. So I want to go into that just a little bit. Now, what is so unique about identity versus Etter Consulting? What has been the unique thing starting at this point since the launch of Identity and up to this current date? What is the unique part of what you do? What makes Identity the it spot? In other words, you have the floor.
That's a great question. I think what makes Identity so unique in the adoption and foster care field, market, whatever you want to call it, is that we do everything via tech, right? Like, that is a huge difference for child welfare as a whole. There's not a lot of tech in this field. It's a really, there hasn't been a lot of innovation in child welfare, really at all in the last, maybe 50 years, however long it's been, like how it is. It just hasn't really changed that much. And so I think one of the most unique parts about Identity is that we're pushing innovation. And we're doing that in a very small way right now, I think, through education, right? We're bringing, our current product is called the Identity Learning Community. Our current product is called the Identity Learning Community, and it's a community for families that have already adopted and fostered, and they get access to webinars, tutorials, content, and a community, so they communicate with each other in the app and make their own posts. And so it's a unique way to do post-support care that is a lot more interactive. It's a lot more accessible. You can meet with families across the country and people that are maybe in the next neighborhood over. But it's again from your phone. You're not going to an agency, and you're not going to a church for a support group. You can do all those things from your phone. And we know as parents, both of us are parents now, that bedtime is a nightmare. Evenings can be rough. It can be really, really hard for an adoptive or foster family to get out to a support group. Like,
exactly.
Like finding babysitters if you actually want to enjoy your time. There's all these barriers. And so there's something really, I think, special about the idea of getting that support from your phone. And also having that support not necessarily being designated to 7 to 8, being like your whole day, right? Like you could log in on any time and potentially make a post and get immediate responses. Anybody else feeling low today? Anybody else feeling overwhelmed today? And have 5 or 6 parents maybe immediately jump on and send you encouragement, and also say that they're experiencing the same thing. That's really huge, I think.
Yes.
Just something that we know parents as a whole need.
Now, speaking of having support, now we like to do this from time to time for our family, because your family, literally your family, and you're also family to the podcast. You've been on here multiple times when we were a podcast. So this is what I'm saying. Like, when you have a vision, it's hard. And see, people don't understand it especially when you're adopting other people to go behind the vision, everything. And I'm answering the question that you said earlier in regards to being particular. Now, you already know in your head what you want. You already got it all mapped out. You know what font to use. You know what graphic you want. You know how to execute it. Now, with other people, they're not going to get it right away. So you have to develop a culture. And when you develop a culture of not only being a leader, but a servant. Now, see, I'm not trying to be preachy, but there's some truth to that. Because when we are servant leaders, we build other leaders, which builds our vision, and so forth and so on. So you're not only having a vision, but you're building a culture, and you're building people that they can build. So let's say, man, Isaac, I want to go to Saudi Arabia with identity. Can we do that? See, this is what this is all about. It's about branching and making it more than what it is. You can do that by being a servant leader. Now, see, a lot of people don't like that concept because I'm the boss. I said it, and you better listen to me or you're fired. Now, look, that concept stopped working years ago. Yep. Nobody, look, you want to fire me? All right, cool. I'll get another job in 5 minutes. All right. So that's how it is now. But, of course, we know the present economy is a little up and up. But anyway, my point is that when you build a culture, and this is what you're doing, by you switching it from an app system, you're building a culture. And by you building a culture, you develop a team. And then the team not only becomes just your employees, they are part of the what? Movement. Now, instead of them being your employee, they're part of the movement. So it's not just Isaac doing it all. Isaac has the same passion burning from Joe, Eric, Thomas, whoever you got on your team. Everyone has that same passion and same focus. Servant leader. Now, people will develop their own thing eventually. That's great. But you gave them a tool to help them. And see, when you do this thing to help other people, I'm telling you, even though in some months you do check and balances and you want to pull your hair, well, I don't have any hair, but you pull the little hair that you got out because the checks and balances don't make sense. But when you are sowing into people's lives, you'll be surprised what you get in the mail. Cash App, we got Cash App now, and PayPal and all these different systems of paying for business. You'll be surprised what happens when somebody drops a check and you don't even know how you going to keep your lights on. That's real talk. But see, when you are putting people in a position of being servant leaders, you don't have to ask. They like, man, I already know. Isaac, I got you. All right. And then you're like, wait a minute. What did you just say? You don't process it at first because as the CEO or the face or the boss, your job is to make sure it gets done. Now, when we come up short, you don't want to look like a failure. See, I'm talking real, y'all. See, y'all tune it off because I'm speaking real talk. But this is how it is. You have to trust in a God you serve. Now, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, Isaac, you don't trust God. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that you end up realizing that all this time, man, this God that my parents was talking about, my church was talking about, the college friend I had was talking about, the guy down the street was talking about, even the homeless guy that was asking for 25 cents, he gave me a word. This stuff is for real. And when you have your own vision, and you try to do it on your own, man, look, I've been there. And when I started having this co-pilot mentality, what does that mean? Well, you could be the boss. See, a co-pilot is still a pilot. So when the pilot wants to take a break or get some sleep, guess who's in charge? The co-pilot. So it's okay to stay in a co-pilot position, even though you were given a vision, even though you're the face, even though you're the founder, you can still have that co-pilot position. So as you're building your movement or your team, everyone else can pick up the slack. Okay, Isaac, I already know you was going to execute XYZ. You want it launched on X date. Okay, I got you, bro. And you're like, well, wait a minute. I got to make sure. What did he just say? And see, this is the stuff that you'll start getting as you grow. You're like, wait a minute. These guys are actually listening. Like, they are sucking this stuff up and they want to run with it. See, when you become a servant leader, again, that's when all this stuff in business life, I don't care what the corporate world says, but when you build a family, they will support you. Real family anyway, just saying. But even people that aren't your blood will support you. And see, this is what I'm saying. See, a lot of times when you're doing a vision, honestly, you may not get that support from your immediate. You just may not. It happens. Yeah. But you need to keep that drive and make sure that drive stays and keep that flame going, even though you may not have it around you. And that's what gives you that heart to continue to push forward and do what God called you. Because every time it's hard, that means it's meant. Yeah. Every time that you got a stumbling block, that means it's purposed. Every time you in your dark room pulling out the other hair you had, that's when God is about to birth something in you. That's what he does. But see, he wants us to grow not only as men, but as servants, leaders, counselors, consultors, whatever it is. It's still ministry what you do. So you can't run from it, nephew. I'm just saying. You can't run from it. Because what you do is ministry. It is. Yeah. So, because most people may not get that. They may not get someone that actually cares. Oh, you're a number. Okay. Be a part of identity. Enroll. All right. What do you want? Well, you can't say what do you want, but you know, most of these automated things is real standard, real unpersonal. Okay, you need this. Okay, here you go. All right. Have a nice day. It's $18.99. What? But I'm really going through. Where's the personal touch? Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Future, automation. I get it. But there's nothing like the human touch. I'm sorry. I hate to say it to y'all. I know it's the wave of the future. I know everybody emojis everything and texts everything and all this stuff. I get it. But it's nothing like having a personal touch, especially someone that's the face of a movement. People will be like, oh, wow, you took the time to say hi. You took the time to answer my question. I'm telling you, people will respect that. I'm telling you, I'm not just telling you something I don't know. It happens. because people aren't used to people that are in the limelight, so to speak, have that personal connection.
Yeah.
I don't have the time. I don't have the time to speak with you. No, you have the time. You got plenty of time to go to the restaurant for 10 hours talking nonsense. So you have enough time to respond to a client or potential family member. That's how I look. But anyway, let me stop running my mouth because I can get happy. But speaking of which, talking about support, talking about family, I wanted to surprise you, nephew. I have someone that has dropped in the building that wants to give you a special hello. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome my guest, Miss Judy. Are you in the building?
I am here. There we go. All right.
There she is.
Okay, hi.
God bless you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me. This has been great.
Yes, he was not expecting this. So, like I said, I like to pull surprises on folks, and when I can do it, I like to do it. But we were talking about a lot of awesome things and seeing how Isaac has grown from Etter Consulting to Identity. Wow, that's huge. And when you have been a part of the process, and that's why I thank you so much, Miss Julie, just to come on, because I know someone out there that's watching that does what you and your husband do. You guys have a heart that most people don't even have anymore. I'm just going to be real. You guys are able to take people in that don't look like you, that may not know nothing about what you do or whatever, but just your heart posture is right. So I just want to give I want to give you a floor just a little bit, just to give the adults out there of being an adult, a parent that adopts, that's not adopting someone their same race. Can you give them a little bit of backdrop, a little pro, a little con, and how they can still be able to still be someone they can adopt kids even after the first set's gone? So, Miss Julie, I'll be honored for you to have the format at this point, just to explain just a little bit your side as far as being a parent of an adopted child, the growing pains, the good, the bad. You ain't got to get into detail, but just saying, I'm quite sure someone out there is listening and watching and maybe experiencing it. You've gone through it, so you can give them that nugget that they need. So, Miss Julie, you have the floor. Welcome to the exclusive interview.
All right. Thank you so much. First of all, I just want to say, we are so proud of Isaac. I have so many friends of mine that will often ask, isn't it really hard that your son is building a very public business that airs all of your mistakes? And so is that really hard for you? And for Bruce and I, it's not. Yeah, any parent hates to see where they've made mistakes and they've hurt their children and things like that. But we are very proud of him, and our relationship with Isaac, for anyone who wonders, is fantastic. We are probably closer to Isaac now than we have ever been. We have a fantastic relationship with him, and we very much support what he's doing.
I was just there.
What's that?
I was just there like an hour ago.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. My husband and I always knew we wanted to adopt. Like, even before we got married, we just knew that it was something we were passionate about and we wanted to do it. We got married, had many, many years and struggles with infertility and miscarriages and things like that. So when it came time, we did adopt, and there's not time for this, but Isaac's story is so miraculous. The day we went into the adoption agency just to ask questions, we weren't ready to do anything, was the day Isaac had been dropped off there. And for anyone who knows anything about adoption, they know that this is crazy, but we had done nothing, and our paperwork went through, and we had him in our home exactly a month later. And that just doesn't happen,
No.
So we know that God's hand has been on it, but we made mistakes. We didn't have good education at that time. The internet wasn't what it is now, and so we didn't have that at our fingertips. We thought that if we raised him in a loving home, and basically just we love you, and that's all you need. We didn't
Exactly.
expose him to a lot. Um, I know that I protected him and shielded him from racism, and because I do have white skin, it never, and this is going to sound completely ridiculous, I know, but it never occurred to me that that was going to hurt him, that my shielding him was going to later hurt him.
Hmm.
And I remember the year he turned 18. He was living in Atlanta, and I don't remember which shooting it was. I don't remember all the details, but it was the year that there were the riots in Dallas afterwards.
Oh yeah,
And
George Floyd.
okay. And it just completely knocked me off my world, because it was the first time that I thought, I didn't teach him to protect himself.
Yeah.
I didn't teach him to know what life was going to be like as a Black male. And I think it's not an exaggeration to say I cried that whole summer. He turned 18 in June. I think that happened end of June, beginning of July. And I think I cried the whole summer. It was just so frustrating. I didn't know that when a Black boy gets his driver's license at 16, it's not something that's celebrated like it is in white homes. I started reading Black mom blogs at that point, and just finding out all kinds of stuff like that. I remember when he turned 16 and his friends left fried chicken and soda on our porch. And I was so mad and ticked off, and he didn't know what I was mad about.
Yeah.
And probably did not realize until probably a few years ago, right, Isaac? I don't
Yeah.
And I thought I was protecting him by not telling him, but obviously we know now that was not the right thing. So I'm so proud that he is teaching other families to not make those mistakes. Even little things like, when he had eczema horribly as a child, my husband would stand in the grocery store aisle waiting for a Black mom to walk down the aisle to say, what can I put on my child's skin?
What's crazy is I actually told that story in a pitch today.
Did you?
Yeah. People ask me, like, where am I drawing this inspiration from? Because, one of the three elements that we're trying to bring to our community are hair care, skin care, and cooking. And they asked me, like, where I got those ideas. Like, yeah, my parents always tell this story of my dad standing in the, like, lotion aisles trying to figure out how to deal with my skin.
Yeah. And that was so intimidating. And even as white parents, and it's the white parents go through intimidation as well. Isaac never had good haircuts because selfishly it was too intimidating for me to walk into a Black barbershop with him.
I'm dropping a video about this Friday. Yeah.
And I have a funny story. I had a Black friend when Isaac was a teenager, and she said to me one day, actually, I'm sorry, it was my white friend whose Black neighbor said, I told my son I got to take him to get a haircut because he looks like a Black kid that's been adopted by white parents. And it was just so much true. We laughed about it. It was so true. And so just that he is picking up on those things that weren't meant to be hurtful to him.
Yeah.
That were meant to make him feel like part of our family. I forget. I have 2 brown children, and I forget that they're adopted. As crazy as that sounds, I just love my boys. And all of my kids, I have 3 biological kids. They would all say that this experience, though, has led me to have one of the fiercest mama bears. Watching the pain that Isaac has gone through, and just having people not, and he would speak to this more, but growing up in a white culture means that no one understands his story because no one's felt his story.
Exactly.
And there, as a parent, you probably know there's nothing that hurts you more than to see your child hurting and to know other people aren't supporting him.
Got to I got the hat. Look, when it comes to not understanding, and see, this is why I'm glad that I'd never had a one-track mind. I mean, this is actually the first time we're actually meeting, Miss Julie.
Yeah.
So
Right, yeah.
we've talked a few times, but never in this setting. But see, technology is great. You can meet people, and you don't even have to be in the same living room. You're just doing this. But see, my point of growing up, I've been in almost every state there is.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew what racism was till I went to the South.
Right.
I never experienced it because I grew up with all kinds of flavors from Hispanic to Puerto Rican to black to white. We had all flavors, 31. So we were good. Everybody would crack jokes on each other. And as we grew up, we would crack jokes on each other and it wouldn't be offensive. People getting mad and fighting. But when I got grown and I left where I grew up, and I started migrating south, I realized that, okay, they got a problem with me because I'm not liked. So, and then when I spoke or when I went to job interviews and they would call my name because I don't have a typical African-American name either. Christopher Newton is not a typical African-American name. So if you are calling Christopher Newton in an interview, and then they did a phone interview and they spoke with me beforehand, they're expecting me to be white. I'm just going to be real. And I've had this happen so much in my life. It's funny to me now, but when back then I kind of was feeling some kind of way. I'm like, well, why y'all laughing? Like, what's so funny? But I understand, and I understand what you're conveying because you don't know. You're doing what you think is right. And what I applaud about you and your husband is that you opened your mind. Now, some people, look, I know what I know. That's it. Isaac, this is what you're going to know. That's it. That's how it is. The world is a cookie cutter place. Well, sorry, it's really not. You make your own culture in your own home and you can make that environment. But as soon as your children leave the nest and experience life, it's this culture shock. I'm just going to be real. I don't care who you are. But see, what makes this whole dynamic right now so awesome is that I know what it's like to feel racism. I deal with it every day, even to this day. I still deal with it. I'm in Texas. Go figure. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, it's something that has not been taught nationally. It hasn't been taught worldwide. It's been advertised for all of us not to even have this conversation right now. Why are you talking to a white woman and a half white guy or half black man? What is your problem? Well, first of all, it's not your platform. Second of all, I can do what I want and invite who I want, when I want. Second of all. Third of all, I think everyone that's listening and watching needs to know this because we're already ignorant enough. I don't care what race you are. In order for us to become one nation, here we go. We got to understand who we are. Just because I'm white, black, blue, green, purple, polka dot, when I get cut, we all bleed the same color. Sorry, I didn't know black people bled purple. No, we don't. We bleed red. Everyone bleeds red. So my thing is, even in the culture of our churches, and I introduced that to Isaac as well, it's in our churches bad. We have segregated churches, but we all believe in the same God. Makes no sense to me. I'm sorry. And this is why people are like, what is wrong with you? You're supposed to be with your... Look, we are all one. I don't care if you're looking at it from a secular point of view or from a religious point of view or what have you. We're one people. And in order for us to understand our differences, we have to have an open mind. And if we don't have an open mind and don't want to be taught nothing and stay ignorant, sorry, I said it, but that's why we're in the positions we're in right now. We want to be ignorant and belittle someone else because they don't look like you, well, you'll understand a whole bunch of stuff about yourself as an adult. There's some things I learned from, as far as cooking is concerned, from someone that's Caucasian. They make their own stuff different. So I learned how they cooked. So I'm like, okay, so if I have multi different friends of different races, I'll know how to cook certain foods certain ways. So if I got black folks, I cook, I'm being funny here with the fried chicken. We talked, and it's funny you mentioned that because we talked about that before you even got on. But yeah, culturally we know stuff. We heard it from TV. So okay, well, black people like fried chicken, hot sauce, and grape juice. Okay, I got that. But what if that kid doesn't like that?
Right.
Then you're like, wait a minute, but I saw on Martin that, okay, well, Martin is depicting a whole nother side, which is funny, but it's not funny. But still, it's like, and then we have the Cosbys, which show you the upper middle class way of how African-American upper class people live. Now, there was some nice stuff about the Cosby Show that I grew up watching it. I grew up watching Cosby Show, Different World, all that stuff. But see, when real world happens and the issues aren't addressed, you can watch all the TV you want. And now the way TV is now, they are promoting segregation. They're promoting hatred. They're promoting racial divide. So no wonder we can never get along, because the boob tube is presenting all this nonsense. So we can't even have conversations like this. Right. Oh, I'm not coming on your forum because you're black. I'm sorry. What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? Nothing. But it is what it is. But anyway, I didn't mean to go on my spiel. But see, this is important to me, and this is why I'm glad this dynamic is happening. I'm glad people are seeing it and they can hear from you how it is. Look, I may be white, but look, I went through some stuff, and it wasn't easy, but we love our son as he's our son. We don't care what color he is. Just saying. See, right. And people don't hear that or see that. So you're even brave just to even say that and tell the world, look, I'm a white woman, I know, but I love my brown kids, and if you got a problem with that, my number is... No, let me stop. Anyway, that's why you said Mama Bear has started to rise up in you, because now you know another side, and now Mama Bear is being birthed. You don't want to mess with Mama Bear Julie now. I'm just saying. Now you may...
Isaac can tell you I basically go crazy. When I think someone's hurting my kids.
Ooh-wee. Well...
Don't Isaac.
I ain't mad, but Isaac, I'm sorry, man. This became a family reunion. Like I said, I've never seen Miss Julie face to face ever. I've talked to her a few times. I've never really got to see them. So for me, this is what I look like. But see, I had hair way back in the day, but I don't have no hair no more. So so this is the result. But anyway, do you have any other key points you'd like to give to anyone out there before we take it to Isaac?
Oh, just, don't be afraid to believe people who are different from you. I had a good friend that said to me one day, I just decided one day I'm going to believe the stories of my black brothers and sisters in Christ, that they're not going to lie to me. And so I'm just going to choose to believe them. And her saying that, she just spoke to how that just completely transformed her life and her friendships. And I think as a parent, I've just naturally done that with Isaac. And I just, just believing that you can't raise a child who looks different from you as if they don't look different from you, and not someone's going to suffer from that. at some
Exactly.
point,
Yeah.
And so just believing that and not being afraid of that. I've never been intimidated by either one of the birth moms in our story. We have two good birth moms. When I talk to my boys about them, I call them I don't think, Isaac, I don't rarely say Kim. I'll say your mom. Like
Yeah.
it just doesn't intimidate me, and just allowing your adopted kids to own who they are.
Exactly.
And and don't not being afraid of that. Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. And this is why we're here. And like I said, I've always been the uncle that was chasing after the dream. So I really didn't have to, I didn't know all of it. So I'm just catching bits and pieces. But my whole thing was he's being loved, he's being cared for, regardless of what color or what family he's in. They're doing a heck of a job making a man. And even though we are in an imperfect world where we don't teach what we need to teach, even in our churches, we don't teach this thing. And the beautiful part about being a man or a woman, white, black, green, or blue, is when you understand different people, different mindsets, different cultures. No one's saying become black. You're not black. You're Caucasian. So, but you're understanding now that there's more to the story than just what you saw on the 6 o'clock news, because it's not. And that's the sad part, because even when you have come up in the world, even when you have success, you want to make sure your kids are successful. Me and your dad worked our butts off to make sure you guys had a decent home, lived in a decent neighborhood, decent school. Just because I don't look like you don't mean I don't have the same passion and desire for you.
Right.
But from a kid that doesn't understand that, and then when they get smacked in the face with, okay, I hear you, Mrs. Etter, but Isaac don't look like me. So what are you going to say about that? Because, and then we got some folks that are bold enough, even our constituents, people we work with, people that are in our churches even, they are brave enough to say, how can you raise? And I'm quite sure you and your husband had these questions. I'm quite sure. Yeah, I'm quite sure. But that's what I'm saying. That's why you guys are where you are. That's why you two are still being blessed the way you are, because of the fact that you've evolved from what you thought was. And you're understanding through what Isaac has gone through and transitioning his mindset. Okay, I see what you guys did, mom and dad, but now I'm finding out a whole different side, and I ain't liking it. Yeah. So can I just understand this part? I understand y'all love me. I get that. But I got to understand this for me, because I'm not getting the same results that you two taught me.
Right.
And that's the truth. Because when we grow up and we leave the nest, we go through some stuff.
Yeah.
And folks are cruel. They're heartless, especially if you don't look like them. And they don't understand. And you speak articulate. They're going to be like, wait a minute. Isaac, I thought you were black, man. And this is coming from our own culture. I'm telling you. They're like, wait a minute. You don't even talk like me, bro. Like, what's your deal, man? But that's my whole point. It's those little things. And this is why this app that he has is going to be awesome. Even in the urban legend stuff, in each culture, everyone has it. Yeah. Everyone has different things, and having this app in place, even with those little things, we can laugh about it between all of us because we've been in there. We've done that. We know. But people that have no clue, like you were saying, it was rough. You had no clue. So you just flipping a coin to see, okay, well, what do we do now, John? Do we do this? I don't know. I don't know. Let's watch Martin. You know, I'm being funny, but but that's the truth. In some, I'm telling you, This information is like the hidden gem. Most people don't have it. So they are flipping coins, watching different TV shows, trying to implement it in the life. And some of these kids are like, what is that, Mom? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what's up? What's up, Isaac? How you doing? They looking at you cross-eyed, like, Mom, what are you doing? That's not what we do. Like, so it's little stuff like that. And this is why I'm telling you, this app that he's doing, having little pieces and chunks like that, just to bring cultures together. Because I'm telling you, people aren't going to say what we're saying. They're not as brave as you, Miss Julie. They ain't going to say, look, I ain't know, but I knew we loved them and we did the best for them, but we hit a roadblock because when he turned 18, he figured out some stuff and we couldn't answer the questions. So having this forum right here, having what he's doing right now to educate other folks, to let them know that, hey, it's not as easy as turning on Martin. I mean, I keep plugging Martin, but I'm just saying, but that's the probably most funniest cultural link I can bring when it comes to, nobody says, oh, well, watch the Cosby Show. No, most of us don't.
Do you even know what Martin is?
I do know what Martin is. Yeah.
And that's why he was over there laughing. He was trying to be serious, but he's like, oh my God, he pulled the Martin card. Oh no. But most people know, especially in suburban America, they know about the Cosbys.
Yeah.
That's as black as we get it. Yeah. And a lot of folks don't act like the Cosbys. I'm sorry. A lot of us don't grow up like the Cosbys. We're not doctors. Some of us aren't lawyers. Some of us aren't. No, we're basically going to McDonald's, working at 9 to 5 and trying to get promoted, working our way up. That's the reality. But it was nice to see that because it gave other individuals motivation to say, wow, we don't have to always be in the ghetto. We can live in the suburbs. Even with the Jeffersons, that was the first big thing. Deluxe apartment in the sky in the 70s. What?
All right. Can I tell a quick funny story about the Jeffersons and Isaac?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember this, Isaac?
I think so.
He found the Jeffersons just flipping through TV, and he was little, probably 7 or 8 years old. And he told his dad, I found the best show. It's the Jeffersons, and they make fun of white people. It's the best show. He loved that show for a while, yes.
The one that was even worse is Good Times.
Yeah,
that's even worse. So yeah, it's like if you want to know what it's like to be in the ghetto but still have that family core value, yeah, that's as low as it can go. But like I said, we've grown up so much as a culture, as a people, different ethnic groups. In order for you to grow and become a powerful man or woman of God or just in society, period, you have to grow up. You have to understand that, yeah, you're going to deal with people along the way. You're going to deal with ignorant folks. Sorry, this is the truth. You are. Most people are blinded to what's really going on. All they know is their high life. I got my high car. I live in a nice neighborhood. It's in a gated community. We're good. We don't understand life outside the gate. See, that's the problem. See, so when everything happens and life comes to your doorstep, you ready to flip out. Like, oh my God, honey, what do we do? Oh, so we got the increase, like Isaac said, the increase of suicide, especially if you're dealing with a child that's adopted and it's not the same culture. That's on a rise, even in the society of middle class, upper class. The stats just in that section alone is ridiculous. I get it from the lower class. I get it. But from a class that should have the resources to make sure the children understand, for me, I'm like, wait a minute. Y'all got the money. Why are you failing? And see, it's the lack of knowing that the information is there. Not saying everybody don't want to know, but it's the lack of not having the information. So when you don't have the information, you don't know, and then you have stuff at your doorstep. You got fried chicken, and you're going off like Miss Julie because she didn't know why you got fried chicken on my step. What is wrong with you people? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So again, that's a perfect example. And, again, I thank you so much. But Miss Julie, you have any closing remarks before we let you go this evening? Because we got to wrap this up. But I got to get some points out for Mr. Isaac, or you could just chill out and hang with us till the rest of the show. It's up to you. But I got to get some points out so that people know who this young man is over here in Texas, because we got a lot of folks over here and a lot of agencies over here that have no clue that this young man has a service that can help them. So we gonna make that happen. So, Miss Julie, you have any closing words, any jewels, final thoughts, any highs, whatever you want to do? You have the floor, and then I'll go ahead and we can get Isaac and close this thing out right. So you have the floor, Miss Julie.
All right. No, thank you for having me. We're proud of the work that Isaac's doing, and I think if I could say anything, as I've already said, believe your kids, believe your friends. And don't be afraid to let people be the people that God created them to be, and no one should have to hide what God created them to be, and let that be, and be educated. No one wants to talk about the hard side of adoption, because everyone wants it to be just this really pretty gift with a bow on it, and it is the greatest gift. Life without Isaac would not be a life that I would want to live. But it does come with hardships, and people need to, understand that. And I like what Isaac says is know that on the front end, so that you are preparing yourself and educating yourself. Don't wait until things are starting to go upside down in your home to get that education. Know that ahead of time.
Amen.
So, yeah, that's it. And I've got another son that still has homework to do, so I'm going to sign off.
Yes, ma'am. Well, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much for just taking the time just to explain the parent side of this, and understanding that I'm quite sure someone's going to get some jewels behind it, especially coming from a mouth that doesn't look like me and Isaac, and you're like, look, this is the real deal. Yeah. Look, y'all can hate me if you want, but this is the reality, and I'm just telling you, get the app, because it'll help you. But anyway.
It will. And just to end, I actually like fried chicken more than Isaac does, so there you go.
See, y'all need to stop them jokes, because y'all think all black people like fried chicken, but see, Miss Julie love fried chicken.
Yeah, it's actually my favorite comfort food. I don't even think it's one of Isaac's favorites. So,
well, we'll turn them back on to it. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, thank you so much, Miss Julie. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, wow.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, Isaac, man, surprise. That's what we do. We like to bring surprises, and you didn't think. Yeah, because like I said, I've known your mom for a while, but on and off, I didn't really get to see her. This was like epic for me, because like years have gone by. You're a grown man, you got your own family now, so it's like, oh my God, like when would we ever? And this was just an epic time for me. So I'm probably a little more excited right now, but I wanted to embrace it because your story is linked. And yeah, I'm his blood uncle. Yes, his mom is white. So what? Just saying. Yes, his biological mom is black. She's my sister. I get it. But the fact of the matter is, we have to understand that regardless of how we're brought up, how we were raised, what challenges we deal with, in order for us to become a better human being, we have to grow from our ignorance. Just saying. Yeah. But anyway, I'm going to make sure that you get all of this out here, because I got a few information here, and we got it scrolling down on the screen. I'm quite sure most of this stuff has maybe updated or changed since the last information upload I received, but I'm quite sure if it's wrong, you're able to give more information. But on the bottom of the screen is all of Isaac's contact information. But like he just said, Isaac Consulting has transitioned. So I'm quite sure half this stuff is not right. So, we have the man in the building to give everyone the correct direction on how you can get in contact with him, how you can get one-on-ones, consultations, any agencies that are watching tonight. This is definitely a bridge that Texas needs. So please, and I will continue to plug this and send it to folks that need it, because adoption is a serious thing, especially if you have a child that is not your race. I'm just saying. But anyway, Isaac, you have the floor. Can you give everyone all your social media handles, how they can get in contact with you? And I got 2 more questions and we're out of here. So Isaac, you have the floor.
Yeah, actually, a lot of the information at the bottom is still correct. The only thing that's different is the website. Like, that is still a website, like isaacetter.com. You can find all this information there. It's probably the easiest place to go. You can also go to identitylearning.co. That's where you can find out more about identity. And you can also, on Instagram, at identity.learning.
Okay.
And so
yeah, most of this stuff's linked, y'all. So even if you click on this stuff, it'll probably take you to identity
if you go to isaacetter.com, you're going to find it all.
Yeah. Y'all heard it. Go to isaacetter.com and you will be trafficked to identity. You'll know the source. You'll know where all this stemmed from, all that jazz, how to get in contact with him. People out here in Texas that are agencies, he is the man you want to talk to. He knows he's a young, hungry, he's been through it, he knows it, so he can help you, and actually he can engage with a lot of young people nowadays that are tech savvy, all this TikTok savvy, all this stuff. He can relate. So I can't. So if you need that type of guidance in a tech world, app world, he's your guy. So I'm a little more old school, but like I said, I'm learning the new stuff. So some of this stuff is actually cutting edge, and what he does and how he rebranded is cutting edge, because people can't get information like this without an appointment or trying to find a book, and even books now are obsolete. A lot of libraries are closing, so a lot of information is all internet now, and most of that is tainted. But anyway, that's a whole nother show, whole nother time. So in light of everything that we said tonight, we said a lot of things. We had a family reunion. We were able to get to understand your story, how your story birthed what you do now, how it's a culture for you, not just a job. It's something that you want to evolve for other people. You started consulting. Now you've evolved and grown into identity, where it's an all-access app, all-you-can-eat buffet of different information. And I gave you a plug, nephew, with the urban legends. I'm quite sure a lot of parents might want to know that one. Just so you might want to write that down. Urban legends of different cultures. I'm quite sure they'll be like, wow, he put this in here too? Oh my God. Yeah. But anyway, that's real talk though, because people don't know. Yeah. I'm just being honest. But here we go. So I'm gonna ask you a nice question. So what does Isaac like to do for fun?
Wow, what a great question. I wish I had a better answer for you. I don't, running a business, as you know, doesn't leave too much time for fun. But I will say this. I was actually having this conversation the other day. when you really love what you do, it doesn't really feel like a burden. And honestly, as tired as I am most days, I'm pretty energized to keep at it, keep at the ideas, keep building. I have a really big vision for what and how I want to transform child welfare. And, you just chip away at it every day. And so that is fun for me. But if we're not talking about work context, of course, I like to spend time with my son. I like to watch TV shows. I like to kick back, spend time with my friends. I love going to see music and just, really relaxing. I try to work really hard. I try to put a lot of my effort and my focus into my work. And so when I do get that off time, I like to spend it relaxing. So I'm not, out here going on, a million little hikes or anything like that. I'm mostly just kicking back, just trying to relax and give myself recharge time to actually get back in the game. But that's kind of my free time, my free space. I watch a lot of Marvel stuff. So, I'm just a fan of that kind of stuff.
Me too. Yeah, I'm still.
So
yeah, I'm big on Marvel and
I'll be Spider-Man 16. I'll be there.
Yep, all of them. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, you look, just because you grow older does not mean that you got to be stale. I mean, I believe that, and that's what keeps me young, because now I have children and they're of age. And watching the stuff they watch now compared to when I grew up was like, oh my God, this is a whole different dynamic. But the fun part about it is I still can connect because, wow, Dad, you like to watch Marvel with me? Yeah, I'm a big Marvel fan. Or DC. Oh my God, Dad, you like DC? Yeah, I'm not just in my rocking chair rocking. I mean, come on. But that's what I mean. It's called balance. Said all that to say this. Balance is key to anything. Whether you want to have success in what God gave you, what I do, all of it, you have to have balance. And you have to be able to laugh and have fun and detox from the life. Because life can suck you dry. And your job can suck you dry. So you have to be able to balance it and find what makes you happy, what makes it equal. Okay, well, if I can't do what I used to do, this is what makes me happy. Or I can put my son on my backpack and we just walk around and do something silly. Yeah. That's my balance. See, it's little things that we do or we add as we grow to bring balance, because business gets tougher. More people come in. You get employees. Then here comes payroll. Then you have taxes. It's all this stuff that happens. But when you keep it balanced, they're like, Isaac, why are you coming in here whistling? Like, really? Like, we're serious here. Well, you need to have balance. You need to take a off day and just balance. This, look, I know you love and have a passion, but I'm whistling because I have balance. I don't know what that means, but okay. And then you can translate it in their language, because the young school don't. Some young school don't. I call them young school, but they don't get it. You got to text them or emoji them and let them know what balance is. Emoji, hashtag, all that. Anyway, so I got one more question, and it's not serious. Well, it might be, but anyway, no. What is Isaac's favorite dessert?
That's a great question. Yeah, no, I'm a big ice cream fan, man. I eat a lot of ice cream. I love ice cream. I got ice cream today before doing this, so I can have it for later. I'm a really big ice cream fan. I enjoy ending the night with a good bowl of ice cream. Not every night. Trying to stay a little bit fit, but I do enjoy a good bowl of ice cream. That's probably my favorite. I like the Reese's ice cream. I like the Reese's flavor brand of ice cream. That's what I eat. Yeah,
peanut butter
cups. I like it.
Ooh, good night. Y'all know what y'all missing. Woo. Anyway, the Reese's peanut butter cup smoothie. Oh.
Yep.
Okay. Now I want a smoothie now. Okay. So here's the young entrepreneurs question, and I'm quite sure everybody wants to know, where or what are you working on now with Identity?
Yeah. I mean, we're still developing out this app, this post-support care stuff. But kind of like the biggest journey we're on right now is raising money to continue to build out. We're raising what's called a pre-seed round right now. We're trying to raise some money so that we can finish developing out our product and bring on some team members. So what we're working on is finding the right investors, talking to the right people so that we can keep at this mission. That's really our project right now. And it's going well. A lot of great feedback, and things are good. We're getting people interested, and it's been a very cool journey, a first-time journey for me. I've done the nonprofit side of it, but when you're talking investments and returns and all these things, it's a different field. And so it's been a really cool journey for me, and yeah, that's really what we're focused on this month.
That's good, because when you're dealing with business and finding partners, it can be one of those hair-pulling experiences, but you still have to be able to still go and produce something that looks great, even though you may only have one person supporting or investing. Just what I've learned over the years, professionalism is key. Looking like you're $1 million, even though you only bring in $1, that's key.
Yeah, absolutely.
Knowing how to be a presence in social media, being a presence, just period. All of your handles, just having that professionalism, looking clean, crisp, concise. People will be like, okay, you guys are, okay, wow, you guys are really doing it. Yeah, but I need your support. But I understand in our time right now, people are leery and all this other stuff. But I know for sure that there's a shift going on. And if you continue to stay the course, the people that are assigned to your assignment, they're going to come. They're not going to ask a whole bunch of 28 questions. They're going to be like, okay, what do I sign? Sometimes some of them will be even silent partners. We don't want to have nothing to do with it. We just want to support you. We want to be a silent partner. God bless you. That happens. God still moves even in this uncertain time. And even though a lot of people don't want to hear about God and Jesus and all this stuff, but I got to tell you, he's real. Yeah. And if you continue to do what you do and you allow him to lead you, he's going to open up doors for you that people that in the secular world wouldn't be able to have. Well, how this clown get this and he don't even have an MBA? That's my whole point. I don't either. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is, God favors you, especially if you're doing it in excellence. That's the whole point. And he will bring the people to you. So I'm going to stop preaching, but do you have any closing remarks that you'd like to give to the listening audience, to the people that are watching? Can you tell anybody a nugget, something that can get them motivated, and then you can plug your stuff one more time, let people know who you are, how they can contact you, and all that jazz. So last statement of the evening will be to my special guest, Isaac Etter of Identity, formerly known as Etter Consulting, but you get the idea. So, Isaac, you have the floor.
Yes. Wow. Well, one, thank you for having me. This has been awesome to be a part of this and to have my mom in here and to have you. It's been a really cool experience. If there's one thing that, I like to leave is from the motivation side, it's like you have to, it's not enough to talk about what we want the world to be. It's not enough to just imagine. We have to take action and start building. No solutions happen just by people sitting in a closed room talking about them. Somebody has to take action and actually bring these ideas to light, and that can be anybody. And so I always like to motivate people to bring the things to life that they talk about and imagine about, because it actually makes the world a better place instead of just imagining it to be a better place. I think it's really possible for us to reimagine the world that we live in. And then, plugs are identitylearning.co, Isaac_Etter on Instagram, IsaacEtter.com. For any adoptive and foster families out there, we want to help your family thrive. And we know that foster and adoptive parents are doing their best, and we want to support them through it. We want to make them the best parents they can be. And so please come and be a part of our family, a part of our community. This is going to be a really awesome experience, I hope, for you, and definitely for us.
Yes, sir. Well, family, I hope that you picked up something tonight because, again, Texas, we're on notice. This young man's coming, and I'm going to help him come. Just saying. So if y'all don't know, now you know. There is support in place for people that need the help. We have a lot of soldiers that are out there, a lot of civilians that are out there that are adoptees of, I didn't say it right, adoptive parents that have adoptees. And a lot of adoptees may not look like you. So this young man has a system where he can teach you how to introduce the culture to your young lady or your young man or the twin or whoever it is that you've adopted, whatever culture he or she is. He has a system in place and a personal testimony to back it up. So I implore you to visit the website. You see it scrolling on the screen. You'll see the replay later. But again, Texas, take notice. All of you that are in the child system, in the social network, the DIFUS and all that stuff that you guys do and work hard at, this young man can help you on a lot of things when it comes to placement of adoptees, even if they don't look like the adoptive parents. All these things, all these concepts, he can help you get it. So I'm not just plugging him because he's my nephew, but he's doing it. So I'm just telling you that he's for real, he's passionate about what he does, and he knows what he's talking about. So with that being said, I got nothing else to co-sign on that one. So I'm done with my spiel, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the exclusive interview. I'm yours truly, the Psalmist Voice. And always remember, you are more than you think and greater than you heard. And when you see the Psalmist Voice, when you see Isaac Etter over there at the ice cream stand, getting it in, getting his super double dip with Hershey Kiss on top, eating it while he consulting and giving knowledge to the new school and the old school about being transracial, and we can give you the tools to help you win, not lose. So walk with us, family. Let's go. We'll see you next time on another exciting episode of the exclusive interview with yours truly, Psalmist Voice. We love you. God bless you. We'll see you next time. I'm done. God bless you.